Hello, how are you? I'm Matthew, and this is Truth from the Booth for Sunday, July 13th. Today we saunter up the highway to Manitoba and catch up with Trevor Redmond, the fellow in yellow, who is currently running across Canada while pushing all his gear. We last spoke on the show about 3.5 months ago, so of course, many more stories to be told, milestones to share, and if you pay close attention, you'll realize Trevor is a Rhodes Scholar with many sayings. We spoke Saturday morning as Trevor was getting ready to hit the road after some lengthy downtime due to injury. Enjoy the stories and the laugh. Trevor, a 2-hour time difference between Halifax and Manitoba. Thanks for getting up early and chatting. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So let's. You've been on this show a few times, but let's give people a little bit of a refresher. You're running across Canada. I want to know two things off the very beginning. Your mental health. I'd like to ask my guest your mental health on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, and why?
Oh, boy.
Why are you running across Canada? Let's start at that point right there, Trevor.
I don't know if I can give it on a scale. The scale shifts, but it's in the high.
Okay.
It's always in the high. It has to be. With strength, got strength. So you got to tune it in. So if there is anything that's going to hold you down, knock down some of those numbers, remove it. As I say, if you hang your head at your failings, you'll never see success on the horizon. So you just got to let it go. And it's that thing I've realized when I walked across Canada in the past. If you got a chip on your shoulder, you can't carry that weight. You got to drop it. So, yeah. And why I'm out here? It is about that. It's about the exercise of it all. Exercise, and that's exercising the mind, the body, and the spirit. So this is as much about mental health as it is about physical health, as it is about just keeping your attitude up and keeping a good spirit.
What were the circumstances that led you to this path that you're on? And you can take us back a few years to the event if you so choose.
The event. Well, there was an event that was coming up. So that primed me to exercise and forced me to be ambitious. In 1986, early on, there was word that there was a man wheelchairing around the world, his name being Rick Hansen. I caught wind of that, and he was out for a spinal cord injury, which I didn't know too much about, that inclusion thing, where he was including people. Knowing that he'd be coming down the Trans-Canada Highway, I was really excited. So with that, I said, well, I'm going to try to keep up with this guy if he comes through my community. And I was going to hop on a bicycle and bike along as far as he would go that day. 4 days prior to him wheelchairing past my house, I got struck by a car and was at risk of losing my leg. I spent a month and a half in the hospital, a year and a half with an open wound down to the bone. It was a serious injury. And I managed to recover somewhat from it to a point where about 20 years after the accident, I was walking across Canada. And that walk took me 11,421 kilometers. And then a couple of years later, I bicycled across Canada and back for 14,632 kilometers. I'm sitting at right now 7,723 kilometers run. And it stuns me just saying that, because I do remember exactly where I was in that hospital. And I remember that hospital dream of running across Canada. Well, by frig, here I am.
While you're in the hospital, is that when you first conceived the idea of running across Canada? Or at what point did you say, yeah, I think
strongly, yeah. But back then, it's more of one of those things that just kind of, if that ever happens. But I didn't think it was possible that I would be to the point where I could physically do that. I didn't know if I'd walk on that leg properly again. And most of the doctors didn't think so themselves. So for me to come back from that to a point where I'm running around the neighborhood years later, and then found myself when I was working at the Calgary Zoo back in 2004, 2005, and then into 2006. It's amazing what I was able to do with my leg. Let's just try to take it further. So that's where I took that hospital dream just a little bit further and turned it into reality.
Who was supporting you at this point in your life, saying, yeah, that would be, I got your back if you want to do this, Trevor. I'm totally behind everything.
I don't know. You know, because it's so, directly at that point, coming up with the idea, I remember me just holding off for 2 weeks with my walk across Canada. Because I said, the moment you say to another person that you're going to go do this, you have to go do it. There's no going back. So it took about 2 weeks. There was a guy named Garth that I worked with at the zoo. Not Garth, Trevor, Garn. My apologies, Garn. And I told him for the first time. And then it was out. And then I started telling people all around, including at that point, Sally, who was the receptionist. And when I told her, she gave me my first donation. Now, this being in 2005, heading into 2006, being it was the 25th anniversary of Terry Fox running across Canada, she gave me a Terry coin. So I took that coin and I put it in a little holder and a little pendant that I put around my neck, and I carried that with me. So, yeah.
So you put that out into the universe, and you followed through on that, and you still follow through on things that you say, right?
Yeah, I feel you have to. Yeah, I'm pretty.
Well, that's
pretty
a good mindset.
That way.
That's a pretty good. Let's. I want to talk about your. Here it is. You're in Manitoba. There's a 2-hour time difference. You are getting ready to head back out on the road after some lengthy time recovering. Just tell us about some of your daily challenges and bring us up to speed on the injury, like what happened and how long have you been off the road, per se?
Well, it is extremely challenging. It is. I am doing this solo and pushing all of my equipment in a cart along with me. And the terrain, I'll give you this saying from when I walked across Canada. The land bent and folded me like in the makings of a sword, and the people I met gave me the materials to withstand the impact. So it has been that way from the beginning of this journey right up until now. Just having the support when I need the support is everything, or I wouldn't be this far. It just wouldn't happen. Well, maybe. I'm pretty stubborn. But there has been very difficult times, and having people support me there has been phenomenal. But that said, the weather, the wind, the terrain, it all changes and shifts. And your body has to change and shift right along with it. And sometimes you got to get in front of that. Prepare yourself, prime yourself for it. Do exercises. But that said, exercise, you have to put the food in there, the water. Any imbalance in those factors, or you just get too busy one day. You do too much one day, you do too little the next day. Can add or subtract to your journey in total. And that could be a link that separates from the chain, and you can find yourself in trouble or injured. I do say this, as the fellow in yellow, emphasize the fellow part of this. I am a Rhodes Scholar, and I have a fellowship with the Road. I do have a lot of sayings, road scholar sayings, as I say. And one of them is discipline. Discipline is the line between doing too much and doing too little. And either way, you can find yourself with an issue. I did develop an issue. Having recent in Winnipeg exposure from the media got me excited. And the following day, the winds were at about 50 kilometers an hour. Normally on other terrain, I wouldn't face that. So pushing the wind at 50 kilometers an hour and it's shifting and gusting, found that weak link in my chain, and my upper thigh of my right leg developed a pull. And that pull is what shut down the run. I'm fine to walk. I'm not sure about running, and I've been trying to work it out over the last week and a half to get it to a stable position. I'm not sure if I'm there today is going to be the test.
So when you do get out today, you will be, for the most part, just stretching and walking it out? You're just going to, test mode?
We'll see. I think that's what's going to happen. We'll see as I get moving, just to see how things feel and how things fall into place. But yeah, it's just like the coach says, walk it off. And in that preparation, and then if up the road that it starts to feel fine, then I'm back to running. Yeah.
I want to ask you about you've been out on the road for coming up on a year and a half. You've seen all kinds of different roadways. You always run, so you see the traffic coming towards you, which is a very smart thing to do. But can you talk about the more sketchy areas that you're running? Like, where is it more dangerous to run, in rural areas or on the highway? Where's the most dangerous places to be at, Trevor?
Well, as it jumps into my head, and whatever first thought comes in your head is probably the most genuine answer. It's actually going into cities where it becomes the most dangerous for anybody. Because there is that inner city infrastructure that has pedestrians move around freely. And then when you get out onto the highway, you get larger, wider shoulders. But as you're coming in to a community, those shoulders disappear and a curb comes up. And then it's just rough, grassy area off to the side, the curb, and then traffic. And it's either going to force you off onto that grass area that's unstable, you can twist an ankle or whatever there, or you stay out into the traffic, which increases the risk. So if there was more of a nicer flow in between those parts, it'd be really good. And that's often when I talk to people, because I did get struck by a car. In a split second, that leg injury could have went into an array of other injuries that could have left me without the use of both legs or my arms and my legs. So when I look about traveling around in and between communities, I do believe strongly that if I wanted to travel from one community to the other, even in a wheelchair, I should be able to do that safely. So I would like to see a Trans-Canada park, a Trans-Canada Parkway between communities that attach every community across Canada so that people are able to move freely across Canada and healthy, exercise their minds, their bodies, spirits at whatever capacity they are at. Because sometimes, yes, recently I'm at a lesser capacity than I was a couple of weeks ago. But I should be able to get out and move freely, as everybody should. This is the movement for movement. Health, mobility, recovery for everybody. And that's what we need. When
you hit the road every day, when you're traveling up the road, do you plan on tenting? Are you doing more tenting as opposed to being inside four walls right now? Because of the time of year, and if you are doing tenting, any encounters with wildlife? Like, what are the insects like in Manitoba?
Oh man, well, I don't want to be like taking motels because that comes at a cost, and you don't want to do that too much. But if I have to, I have to. So tenting is another option. A better option is when people take me in for the night, give me a room in their house, as it was in Winnipeg. A gentleman and his wife put me up on a bed in their house, and that was fantastic, along with breakfast and stuff. As it was, I went down one of those side roads off the Trans-Canada and camped in an open area just along the tree line. It was when it came to ticks, I killed about 2 dozen of them that were in, around, and on my tent. And it was just like watching a zombie movie. These things creeping along, trying to get at you. So insects in general, besides the ticks and the horse flies, moose flies, they've been more than I've witnessed. Where I've seen less was the mosquitoes and the black flies. I was surprised to see a lot less of them, and I think that we had this heat wave there for about 3 days in May, and immediately after it we had a snowfall. So I'm thinking that might have had something to do with killing a lot of them off, but I not so much. But yeah.
What are you eating like?
As I look over off to my side, to my left I've got strawberries, to my right I've got bananas. When I come into the good communities that where I can get that stuff, I really want to munch down a lot on the berries and the bananas and the fruits and the vegetables as much as I can. Going through parts of Northern Ontario, you really don't have much, so I resorted to some of that being canned, and I do go with those baby food pouches. In most of the major towns and cities, you can find that, and what that basically has, it's either apple or banana mixed with a whole bunch of veggies and stuff. I really do need that or require that, especially when I'm running too in the heat, because it helps with the electrolytes as well. Through parts of Northern Ontario, you can't find those, so you're resorting to canned fruit, berries. I mean, I paid for a can of blueberries, I think it was $6-7 per can in one of those communities. They really jack up the prices, but I still require it. So what else can you do?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very interesting, fascinating. I just love the opportunity to follow your journey. You have more time to talk?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. We're speaking with Trevor Redmond, who is just running across Canada, just a remarkable journey, and we'll have more to talk about on the backside of this. My name is Matthew. You are listening to Truth from the Booth on Folk Up Radio. Halifax, Nova Scotia, home of talk radio, Truth from the Booth, an ongoing awareness campaign keeping Canada's housing crisis on the front burner and in the moment right here in the Halifax Regional Municipality, the Maritimes, and beyond. True, real-life stories told by those living it, existing in the streets. They bear all and provide you a brief glimpse into an unimaginable world of misery and disappointment, resilience, and triumph. Hear from those with boots on the ground advocating for change now. The stories of the unhoused need to be told by them to educate you, all of us. Hear all the conversations Sundays at 10 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. here on folkupradio.com. Now, back to today's fantastic guest.
Hello, this is Truth from the Booth with Matt and Trevor, a.k.a. the Fellow in Yellow. And please follow me along because I'm on a big, big journey across Canada.
Absolutely, certainly you are. Let's continue the conversation. What have you, this is multiple back and forths across this great nation. What have you discovered about yourself this time around, Trevor?
It's going to be the same thing, Matt. On my walk across Canada, all the way back then, 2006, I was coming up on the 5,000 kilometer mark, and I reached it in Kingston, Ontario. My brother came down and visited, and he asked me much the same thing. What have you found out about yourself, Trevor, going across Canada? Well, I've found things out. No, but what have you discovered? Well, I discovered a lot of things. He's wanting this profound answer, as I think you're looking for here right now. And I'm like, he's like, well, you must have found yourself out there. I'm like, well, look, Chris, the moment I think I find myself in another place. So that's it. And that's your answer. It's constant discovery. I today am a little bit different than I was yesterday. And I'll ask me 2 months from now, I'll probably have the same answer to you.
Yeah.
The moment I think I find myself in another place, with other people, with other experiences. And, I say this to anyone that's listening. Discovering what makes you important will be your most important discovery. But you got to go out there and discover it.
You are an individual of many great phrases, I will say.
Oh, I'm the fellow in yellow.
You are. And we miss you here in the Halifax Regional Municipality. July 1st, you got injured, but it was also Canada's 158th birthday, a milestone recently reached at 7,700 running and biking. Tell me, how do you spend those milestones? How do you celebrate that extra bit? And what's the feedback been like when you do roll into these communities and celebrate events with strangers?
Well, let me just say that injury happened a couple of days before Canada Day.
Okay.
First, it was kind of feeling funky. I got through the day. The next day, I felt a little bit better, went out there. And then as I was coming into Port H. La Prairie, a more stronger twitch and a sharper pain. So I spent Canada Day celebrating inside of a tent. So I wasn't out too much because I was at that point protecting the injury and looking after it. So unfortunately, I didn't have that event. That said, the previous year I was in Fredericton. The Hilton downtown, not Fredericton, sorry, my apologies, St. John, New Brunswick. So I celebrated after 57 kilometers of running inside the Hilton in St. John, watching fireworks and trying to put food back into my body. And I kept my live up on TikTok at that point, and the people that were on my TikTok live got to witness the fireworks outside my window and talk to me that way. So yeah, it's nice. It's a little bit different celebrating than I think most people had on Canada Day, but certainly for me, it's significant. Yeah,
yes,
I mean,
staying connected with your followers is crucial. You spend a lot of time, and well, let's just talk about that. I watch your reels, and it seems like you do put quite a bit of effort into video production. Where do you find the time for that?
I do. I squeeze it in. It's important for that because I do want to give them back what they're giving to me. Sometimes, yeah, I do take a little bit, maybe too much time. That's back to discipline. Doing too much, doing too little. But on those videos, I do try to balance it out and give them what they need. Yeah.
No, they're very informative, and that kind of leads me into this. You have been, and I think you'll continue to have, people who are always one step ahead of you, literally on social media, letting people know in the community, and even with your own social media, people know that you are that you're going to be in town. So people are expecting you in some locations, yes?
At some, yeah. I hope they do too, because it certainly does help when I get in there. That sometimes overwhelming. The parts down southern Ontario, it was really amazing, and my volunteers online, people that witnessed it online, one fella named Paul, who's helped out quite a bit. He says he'll never forget LaSalle, Ontario, because they got walloped. It was about 5:30. I had I think 1.5 kilometers to go to the place I needed to stay. And I mean, that's, we're looking at 10, 15 minutes tops that should have took me. Here I was pulling in at 8:30 that night. Pizza in hand, lots of food. It was 2 days before Halloween, and I love Halloween. You leave the street, you go, you knock on people's doors, you go to their house. But what I was finding going along the street is people were coming out of their houses and coming to me in the street and offering all of this stuff, food, donations. It was fantastic. And I mean, just in that short time, I think I raised over $1,000. So that was absolutely fantastic and stunning. So it does help for people, anybody listening to this that know anybody up the road. And I just did a recent update. I shared it both on social media as well on my website, thefellowinYellow.ca. The next community is all the way to Regina that I'm coming up to. So hopefully people will catch that and say, I know somebody in that community, and let them know. And come on out.
Absolutely, yeah. That's definitely how it's been playing out. I saw on your own social media that you made a media stop with City News in Winnipeg. What was that all about?
Oh, no City News. Yeah, they. Well, I think I had 9 kilometers to run from where I was staying the night before down to the Forks, and City News they stopped and talked to me, and a gentleman named Juno came along and ran a little bit with me, and so it was neat. Hopefully I can get a lot more interviews like that. Certainly the TV. With the audio and video together, certainly paints a pretty good image of what I'm doing. But yeah, if anybody wanted to, again, back to my website, thefellowinYellow.ca, you can find those links under Media News. There'll be a button up at the top of the page. You'll see Media, and click that. You'll see a lot of the old news articles, all the way back into the last year, all the way back to 2006 when I did my walk. So any media interview or article, whatever, that I can find online, I've compiled it into that little page there, and people can just go and read and see, and see if I changed over the years. I don't know if I have.
Okay, awesome. Listen, one final thing, and I already know the answer because you've been on the show before. You are in Manitoba. You're making your way towards Vancouver Island. That's where you want to end this, yes? Vancouver Island?
I don't want this to end.
Well, okay, yes. I knew you were going to say that. But I guess what I'm wanting to find out definitively is that you have no time frame. You get there, you are where you are, you're in the moment. When you get there, you get there. That's still the game plan for you, yes, Trevor?
Well, there's going to be a little bit of a time frame. I have the crunch of the snow that will be coming into the mountains soon. And I know this is July, but I've got to consider that. So I got to get through those mountain passes before, all that snow comes in and cold. So
you're looking at the weather.
Mid-October to get to Victoria.
Mid-October, okay.
Yeah, so that said, if all goes well and I'm still feeling like these two legs can move along, I'd like to move through Vancouver Island and spin around in BC maybe through the winter. And then in the spring, I'd like to get out onto that Yellowhead Highway that goes through Edmonton, Saskatoon, and onward to, basically back to Winnipeg, and then move on from there.
Fantastic.
Going down slightly different roads on the way back, because this isn't about the run across Canada, walking across Canada, or even limping across Canada. It's about reaching as many people as I can across Canada with even this message that I'll probably be doing a little bit of this today. Because you limp doesn't mean you're broken. In fact, it displays you are not. So I want that message to go across Canada. And sometimes we are limping a little bit on our legs or in interactions or even emotionally or even spiritually. It's get out and get moving because you ain't broken. Because you limp doesn't mean you're broken. In fact, it displays you're not. So I'll be saying that a lot to myself today and motivating myself to move up that road.
Well, I know that you will move up that road with caution. What is your saying? You assess. What's your phrase? Your go-to phrase?
Assess before distress.
Assess before distress. Fantastic.
Assess before distress. Yeah.
I always appreciate this conversation. I'm so glad to be a part of your journey, and we'll check in. Maybe in the fall to see where you are. Once you get through the mountain pass, that might be another good point to have a chat. Be safe. I appreciate the time, and just take it one step at a time out there, brother.
Yeah, one step at a time.
And just any final thing, any closing thoughts?
I think my closing thoughts is still thank you, everybody that has moved me this far. It's astounding. I'm closing in all journeys. The walk, the support that I had then, the bike ride, the support, and on this run, the support has gotten me this far. I'm looking at milestones, and they're there. But there's the next big milestone coming up, and I'm about 6,000 some kilometers away from it. I'm coming up on 34,000 kilometers traveled in and around Canada. If I do another 6,000 on top of that, it'll be the circumference of this planet. And that'll be a significant milestone.
Wow, you are not kidding. That's amazing. Trevor, appreciate it. Have a good day.
Cheers, Matt.
So if you have been following the show for a while, you probably know by now that the summer shows are a bit sporadic, just 2 in June and this being my first in July. The stories are told as they become available to me. Now I can tell you that I'm very excited. Jen and I will be meeting Michelle Hiltz this month. Michelle has been on the show telling us about their journey after losing their only brother, Bobby, after he died last winter while living in a tent in Kentville. Had her on the show. Looking forward to meeting Michelle in person a bit later on this month. So the stories of the unhoused are still the focus of this talk radio show, and I can tell you the number of folks living on the streets in the Halifax Regional Municipality is on the rise. And I will continue to shine a light on the most vulnerable population. You can follow all that I do. Follow me on YouTube. Search at In the Moment 2025. For all of us at Truth from the Booth, I'm Matthew. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Let's get you back to your Sunday soundtrack on Canada's #1 folk station, 99.9 FM Perth Andover, and folkedupradio.com.